And with these males, not only are they much heavier and more bulky than a female, but they've got this really showy, sort of luxuriant mane that they develop over the next 5 years, and that really does make them stand out from the rest, from the females. So what happens then is, as they grow that, the thoughts are that, and it's pretty logical, it's to protect their head and shoulders and neck from the quite serious, sometimes fatal encounters they have with each other. But it also is to make them look much bigger and much more impressive, which they will be able to dominate females very, very easily with that size and power and strength, because the females will actually protect the pride with great ferocity. So if they have this huge male coming at them, they're less likely to do that. We just got our first tweet, or my first tweet, from Ariana on Twitter. Ariana, fantastic to have you on board, and thank you so much for tweeting us. Your question is it unusual to have these coalitions this size? Well, if you read the books and you sort of watch the documentaries and many of the sort of notes and information you can get online, many books will say that coalitions of 4 or more are quite rare. In the Sabi Sands, it's actually not as rare. It happens not every day, but these bigger groups do form. They definitely understand that they've got more power and more likelihood of succeeding over a pride of females, and also warding off any nomadic males that come through that could change their structural strategy. So it's not as unusual down here, but it can be unusual where food isn't as prolific as it is down here in the Sabi Sands. They've got a very, very good supply of food down here due to the bordering of Kruger National Park that we're on now, the transversing of, or the movement, I should say, of different herds, massive herds of buffalo particularly, which are one of the lion's favourite foods. So it's not as rare down here, but it is unusual in other parts of Africa to see coalitions of this size. So I think we're quite fortunate to see these boys, and in about 2.5 years' time, wow, are they going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm just going to take a few images here, folks, so if you hear my camera going in the background, that's what it will be. And there's a vehicle just about to leave as well, so that's all what you can hear, that other engine noise. But they're about to move off very, very shortly. They're just repositioning their vehicle to give their other guests a little bit of a look. You can hear that absolute power there. Wow, to be in the presence of these animals is quite overwhelming sometimes, particularly when they give you that look. They just stare straight through you. That look there. This is what I was waiting for. This is what I really wanted you to see, because you know, a lot of the time we do find lions lying down flat, and it's just great to be able to see them active, and their sheer power and immense strength when it comes to finishing off their food, and showing you exactly what they're designed to do. Not only are they an incredible, powerful apex predator, but they have the ability to strip this carcass with every sort of bone or a piece of meat that they possibly can. So it's a great thing. I'm really happy that you can see this. This is happening right in front of our very eyes, right now. So this is the Arathusa and Djuma game reserves we're on at the moment, in the beautiful Sabi Sands in South Africa, and what we're witnessing right now is a lion kill in front of our very eyes, and that kill happened early this morning, as we've sort of mentioned, but they're now just woken up, and they're just having a little bit more of a feed. And it's worth waiting around, folks. That's what we did. We sat there and we watched a lot of these beautiful males just lying there flat, digesting their food and sleeping. And when you start to get these yawns happening when they're lying down, or they start to sit up and yawn, even lying on their backs, they'll start to yawn. You know that there's going to be some sort of activity happening quite soon. So this other individual, a couple of the others are coming in now. There's no friends at the carcass. It's all for one. They might tolerate each other there, but you will start to get this little bit of antagonism there from the other one, or just being patient. His body language is really still and very, very submissive. They don't really want to get into a scrap. There's a lot of theatrics that goes on, but the other one will start to tolerate him. He's very, very still. He's not doing much. We just got a tweet from DJ. DJ, thanks so much for being on board with us today, and thanks for your question. DJ wants to know, DJ wants to know, do lions fight or over a kill, or do they? I'm looking at that one at the back there. DJ just resting his head on that kill, being very, very submissive and going to sleep on it, saying, "I'm not here really. I'll wait my turn." So that sort of answers a little bit of the question there. Do they fight or do they wait their turn? Well, it depends. The males, if it's a male coalition like this, they're just dealing with themselves, and there will be one animal that will probably be more assertive than the other, and that's what's happening right now. The animal behind isn't really doing much at all, but he will start to nibble away at it, and then the other one will probably tolerate him doing that. They just had a little bit of a scuffle, but it's nothing in it really. They don't really want to hurt each other over this. They're a coalition. They want to look after each other, but they want each other to know, this is my food, just move away, you'll get your turn, type of thing. Now if it's the whole pride, the males will get in first and have their feed, then the females, and the cubs get left till last to pick up the scraps. But sometimes, there's always exceptions to the rules too, everyone. I have to say, you can read all the books and listen to all the sort of talks online, and there's always going to be little exceptions to this behaviour where you'll get a cub feeding just in front of a male, and that'll just depend on temperament and lots of other things, depending on where he is in his meal, how much he's had. It does happen, but the cubs normally pick up the little bits at the end. The females are after the males, but the males go first. So really interesting to sit here and watch these guys finish off their meal, and the one at the back there that you can just see, I've been noticing him for the last few days. I might just have a little look through the binoculars and have a look at his eye there. He's just got a little injury on his left eye. Just a scar, I think. It's just a little bit of scar tissue, I think, on that left eye of his, that darker one out of the two, and he's got a few nicks and knocks out of his ears and things too, so he might have been just one of the males that had a bit of a scrap with the male of the pride when they left. Who knows? It could have been just a scrap with one of the brothers accidentally as well. We just don't know the history of these scars, but that particular individual has got a little sort of bit of scarring on his left eye there. And I noticed him a couple of days ago looking at us. It certainly doesn't detract from that incredible stare that they have. Look at this immense power. One big foot holding the carcass down, and he's just nibbling off bits of meat here as and when he pleases. The other one's just sitting patiently. So, the Birmingham Boys, they are doing okay for themselves here. There's no other prides that close that they have to worry about. They're definitely not making their presence felt at this age at the moment, but then they're only about 2.5 years old, as we said, so they're not very vocal. We didn't hear them vocalise when we sat with them for about 2 hours yesterday. They didn't vocalise at all. They're at an age where they just want to lay low, be successful, eat, get strong, get bigger, build up their strength, and get to a point where they can then actually make their presence felt. Wow, how lucky we've been, eh? The last few days have just been so super. we've had extraordinary elephant encounters. We found the Birmingham Boys again, and this is just great. Can we cut to Pete, please, mate? Folks, we're just going to cross to Pete, and we'll come back to you just now. Okay, we'll just sit for a little bit longer, and then we'll cross to Pete.